This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael, I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Greaser's Palace, an offbeat western made back in 1972 by director Robert Downey Sr. One part drug trip and one part biblical parable, the movie looks at an outpost led by seaweed head Greaser, a crude old man who rules with an iron fist and extreme constipation. Meanwhile, descending from the heavens in a parachute and a three-piece suit, a mysterious man named Jesse resurrects Greaser's dead son, who was shot by his father, and asks for help to find Jerusalem and become a star. As Jesse impresses the townspeople, who see him as the Messiah, a separate series of events occurs in which a woman's situation goes from bad to worse as she faces setbacks and tragedies on her own travels. Her story is actually somewhat important within the overall narrative, but saying too much would be a bit of a spoiler. Still, the movie doesn't hide the fact that it's meant to parallel Jesus' life, which gives it an overall surrealness given its setting and costume design, the latter of which in itself illustrates just how out of place Jesus might be seen in any setting. The story of Greaser's Palace is rather bare bones as a result of this direction, though that doesn't mean that nothing happens at all, of course. It's just seemingly more centered around world building, at least up until Jesse hits the scene. And while it's necessary to set up Greaser and his family and the town, it's still a bit of a slow drag. Things do pick up a bit after a while, but overall the film takes its time more than it really stalls, I suppose. As for the satire and the parallels, I have a feeling that reading up more on what Jesus did probably wouldn't matter too much, because the film kind of touches more upon the basic ideas of his miracles and messaging. In fact, the messaging seems to be the greater idea behind the movie, in how it makes light of people who want the particulars of the afterlife or the spectacles of the miracles, more than they want an actual path to happiness or salvation. Being a Western, sort of, Greaser's Palace is pretty much filmed entirely on location in some unspecified desert, unless I missed something in the credits. There's more than just dust, of course, and really this landscape allows for a pretty varied amount of action to come around. Things do tend to stick to the same locations over time, which is fine for the story, but does detract from its possibilities as well. The movie's other technical merits are also put on the back burner compared to the attention given to the story, with relatively stale and flat cinematography and less than detailed sound design. There are a few good shots and movements that make use of the freedom of the film's location shooting, as well as some choice angles that further help to show the scale of the central buildings. Otherwise, I'd say that the movie just doesn't feel as risky or subversive as Putney Swope, Robert Downey Sr.'s previous film, at this point. It has its merits, and it certainly aims to have something to say, but it seems to beat around the bush about it, and generally play things safe. Greaser's Palace, Robert Downey Sr., 1972. 3 stars. I still think it's worth watching, even if it's a bit of wasted potential. Anyways, that's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I wonder if there's a Bible lying around this place somewhere. I always like the part where a bunch of kids get eaten by a bear. That seems like fun.